video we will see what if Naruto was the descendant of Sparda. Summary: lust, envy, hate, and jealousy are the four devils that define the world, but for Naruto, it's a new way of life, especially due to his ancestors, the three Sparda sons that is. Now without wasting any more time, let's get to the video. Naruto sat at the edge of his bed, deep in thought. Over the course of the last 3 months, he was having the same dream repeatedly over the time, and it seemed to give some kind of message. The dream held two parts. The first he would see was the image of 3 different men that seemed to be connected somehow. He would also see multiple images of the people fighting one another as if they loved it. Then after the images were all said and done, he would see the same 3 men from the images that held very similar appearances would tell him to awaken, which he still didn't get what they meant by that. He just got home after he took care of his former sensei, though the results was him gaining his first kill when he unconsciously lost control of his emotions and killed the man in cold blood. But Iruka told him that it was okay since he was protecting him from a man that was a traitor to the village. He learned about 5 of the technique within the scroll that he felt he just had to learn. However, something else happened tonight as well. For some reason, when he was hit with a shuriken, he did not feel the wound at all. It was as if it healed on its own without him even knowing it. But the one thing he knew that absolutely surprised him was when he saw Iruka take a hit. He felt truly pissed and lost it and just simply killed Mizuki without any remorse before he realized what he'd done, and yet he still felt no remorse. He sighed once more before he climbed back in his bed and went to sleep, or so he thought. Unknown location. He then found himself in a dark place that looked like a sewer with water that went below his knees. As he looked around in the darkness, with the only light shining through was the glow from the sun. He then looked around the area before he started to get a feeling that was calling him, as if he was attracted to it. Therefore, he walked down the dark area before he came across a corner that told him to stop. Down the corridor, he heard what sounded like growling. The blonde-haired boy awoke from his blackout and came back to his small apartment, or where he thought he was in. He looked around and noticed that he wasn't near the window, the bed, hell, not even Konoha. He saw that instead he was in a sewer of some sort that was dimly lit. He then heard the sound of growling. Seeing as how he didn't know where he was, he decided to follow it like anyone would. As he traveled, the growling became bigger and bigger until he came across a hallway where the sound was the loudest. He went down the hallway, seeing a light at the end. When he entered the room, he saw that he was now in a dark prison-like room with a huge cage in front of him. He then saw a huge pair of red eyes peek through the darkness, and Naruto saw that it was a giant fox. "Boy, come closer," said the giant fox. Naruto was about to listen until he heard another voice behind him. "I wouldn't listen to the giant fur ball if I were you, kid," said an unfamiliar voice. Naruto turned and saw that the person behind him. The first he saw was a man wearing a red trench coat and had a black shirt underneath the jacket and wore a pair of black pants and black steel-toed combat boots. He also saw that the man had a strange-looking sword that seemingly stuck to his back, which Naruto was wondering how he was doing that. It was some kind of broadsword, though he did not know for sure what type. It had a small hilt with a pointed tip, meaning that the sword could only be used single-handedly. The hilt led to a skull with pitch-black eye sockets, which sat atop bones similar to a person's ribcage. The guard, which looked like 2 small bones, ran along the flat side of the weapon along the 5 small ribs until it reached the beginning of the blade. The second man also had white hair, but his was slicked back and was spiky. He wore a blue trench that held some white vines along the jacket. He wore a black vest underneath it and black pants like the previous person. He had in his right hand another sword. This sword was an O-katana that was sheathed in a black scabbard with a yellow tie hanging from the bottom of it. The wrapping around the hilt was white, though there was a straight black line going down from the cap to the tsuba, which, like the cap, was a bronze color. The last man once again looked like the previous 2 men. He wore a blue jacket and blue pants with a red hooded vest. Naruto noticed that what separated him from the other 2 was his right arm. His right was in all sense of the word demonic in structure. He saw that it looked like an armored hand that had some white cracks and white fingers on it. The man also had a blade on his back that was like the first person on for unknown reasons. The blade was a red single-sided sword with a staff pole for the handle. "Who are you guys?" Naruto asked. "Well, kid, my name is Dante, and these 2 here are my brothers Virgil and Nero, and the reason why we are here is because we need you," Dante said, with Naruto looking confused at that. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked, with Virgil stepping up. "What he is saying is that we are here because you are the only one that can help us in accomplishing our goal. You may not know this, but we figured out that you are our distant cousin through our father," Virgil said, with Naruto still looking confused. However, before he could speak, Kyubi beat him to it. "Wait a minute, I recognize your sense now. You're the sons of Sparda," Kyubi said, with the 3 men looking at Kyubi strangely. "How do you know that, demon?" Nero spoke this time, with Kyubi laughing up a storm. "I was once Sparda's devil arm along with the other 9 by Juo. He once fought the others and me before he betrayed Mundus and came to the human world. After he sealed his power away, he learned that my brethren and I were escaping, so he left to this world and split me and the other 9 into different areas. As far as I know after that he left after siring a child with a human. Kyuubi stated with Naruto getting more confused at what was being said. Hold up, who the hell is Sparda and what the fuck does this have to do with me? Naruto asked with Kyuubi speaking again. Sparda was one of the strongest demons to ever live. He was a devil demon and he worked for the Dark Prince Mundus, who was trying to attack and conquer the human world. Sparda would later betray him by sealing the gate with both his blood and the blood of a human priestess along with something called the Perfect Amulet. To further ensure that the gate would not open again, he sealed his power with his sword called Force Edge and sealed it in the gate. He currently held me and the other Great Nine as devil arms, but he couldn't hold us completely since he sealed his power away. Therefore, he left his home and came here where the human were experimenting with using what you call chakra. He then released us in different areas, and while we were demons, we took some of his influence and didn't harm any humans. We later learned that Sparda sired another child, though we never met the kid. I guess you're that one's descendant. Kyuubi said with the other three nodding their heads confirming what he said was true. The fur ball is right, kid, Kyuubi growls. You are the descendant of our fourth brother Kazama. We discovered that he was here in this part of the world, so we came here, but during the time, we were dead. So through the years, we waited through his descendants to see who would awaken his power so that we too can give him or her ours. That person appears to be you. Dante said with Naruto scratching his head as he absorbed all this information into his skull. Okay. In a way that is pretty cool. Everyone always called me a demon, so I think it's time I show them what one can do, said Naruto, grinning evilly at the thought of retaliating further against Konoha in his own unique way that would make those assholes on the council shit themselves. That would be kind of cool. Those fools in your village mistreat you and the Hokage lets them get away with it because of the fox here. Dad wouldn't have tolerated it and neither should you, so we're going to help train you with everything we know and so will the fox, said Virgil, seeing the Kyuubi look at Virgil as if he had grown his own set of tails. Why should I? Said Kyuubi, as helping humans was beneath his standing as a demon. Because, that way you can get some payback on the village. When Naruto uses that power to make them all miserable, it will be like you getting your revenge on his behalf. Besides, you owe Dad after you caused that incident a few hundred years back that nearly got him beaten up by a bunch of near-angry women and his wife, said Dante, making the Kyuubi let out a dark chuckle as he remembered that incident. Flashback. And, this wasn't written by me, it was written by a good friend. Sparda was relaxing at a hot spring while having the Kyuubi's power sealed away in gauntlet form, but the fox had become bored, and used its power to send a flash of fire to burn down the wall between the section of the hot spring for male and female occupants. With Sparda being the only one on the male side, the females that were on the other, who were wearing little to nothing, accused him of being a pervert, and tried to attack him. Fortunately, Sparda still had some power left in him that was beyond human, and got away barely before the women could pound the crap out of him. End flashback. Okay, you got me there. Fine, I'll help him, provided that down the road he kills a few of those more daring villagers. You know, the ones that try to beat you up on your birthday, or on any day they see fit that no one is around to protect you, said Kyuubi, as he didn't want his vessel to take hits anymore, and not hit back like some pacifists thinking that people will learn their lesson later on. Screw later on, they needed to learn their lessons now. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. What does is that you are one of the last members of our clan, although our blood has diminished over the generation to the point where our demonic blood has become a unique form of human blood, Dante said with Naruto raising an eyebrow at that. What do you mean exactly? Naruto asked. I'm saying that you're our last descendant and we wish to change that. It's pretty funny how weak your devil blood is compared to ours, but I have a feeling we're about to change all that, Dante said with the others nodding their heads as well. Wait, if you're my ancestor, do you know who my parents are? He asked. The old man was not going to tell him, so he would have to ask the next best thing. Well, kid, we don't know who your parents are, we just know that you hold our blood. What we are planning to do is give you a rebirth of sorts, Dante said with Naruto looking a little sad. Rebirth? What do you mean by that exactly? Naruto asked with Virgil stepping up. He means that we're going to make your blood as strong as ours. Our power consists of many things, with the first being healing and regeneration. Our bodies are able to take stabs through limbs, organs, things that normal human beings would be permanently weakened from. We also have another ability that allows our bodies to transform into something called the Devil Trigger, but for Nero it's a lot different, Virgil said in a clam tone with Naruto looking a little confused at that. What do you mean, Virgil? Right? He said with the man nodding. Nero stood up and presented his strange right arm. His right arm is something that you'll learn down the line, but for now we must prepare you for the rebirth, Virgil said with Nero stepping forward towards the boy and presented his arm. This is, in a way, my Devil Trigger, Nero said with Naruto staring directly at the arm. It looked like it was covered by a red and black armor, with the hand and the sides of the armor being a glowing blue. It was clearly demonic and held an inner power to it that the blonde could not even begin to comprehend. As the half-demon waved his arm in the air, a slight astral arm followed it, both separate and connected to the half-demon's demonic arm. This, Nero said, brining his arm to his eye level, is called the Devil Bringer. Is both a part of me and separate from me. The blonde looked at him strangely. You see, when I was a child I was possessed by a demon who wanted power and was willing to use me to get it. The people watching me at the time fought against the demon and were able to drive it back out of me with the help of my demonic blood. However, when the demon was removed it was soon revealed that my arm had taken a bit of the demon's power and used it to turn my arm into what it is today. Now I can use this arm to pull my enemies or myself to me. It's really fun to use once you get used to it. Nero said with Naruto nodding before he smirked. Virgil then stepped forward presenting his sword to the blonde boy. For me you shall receive my most prized possession from my father. Virgil said presenting the O-Katana. This is my weapon known only as Yamato. This is a sword my father wielded and used when he betrayed the demons to come into the human world. This sword contains my father's personal style called the Dark Slayer style. It's a style that allows you to move at super high speeds and use attacks with very high precision and timing. However, you would really need to develop more speed if you truly wish to use this style to the fullest. He said with Naruto frowning at that, but agreed to it. Virgil then handed him the Yamato with Naruto feeling information storm through his mind, and like that, he knew the Dark Slayer style. After all that was said and done, Dante stepped forward with his sword. That was by far the coolest looking blade in Naruto's opinion with how sick and demonic it looked. Well kid, it's time to present the main course, or in other words a family heirloom. He said presenting Naruto his broadsword. This is quite possibly my favorite weapon from my father called Rebellion. This thing has helped me slay many demons and has given me all my devil arms. Rebellion, while being a devil arm, doesn't have a true style other than one called Doubleganger and another called Quicksilver, but it does have much to give, like its ability to purify and destroy hell gates. It holds a lot of attacks that I think you will love once you try it. He said handing Naruto the Rebellion. When the blonde's hand touched the sword he once again felt knowledge go through his mind and liked that he knew how to use it. In addition, another thing that felt good about holding the blade was that it allowed him to use it with his right hand alone. Okay then let's do it. Naruto said with a huge smile on his face, with Dante and the others smirking at that. Very well, but for this to work completely it will require pain and lots of it. Nero said with a frown, but dismissed it when Naruto waved his arms. It doesn't matter. Just make me as strong as you can. Naruto said with the others nodding. Kid, before you do this I need to tell you something important. Kyuubi said with Naruto looking his way, but not before putting his new swords on his back, which he somehow learned to do from the blades themselves, with Rebellion on the left side of his shoulders and Red Queen on the right with Yamato held in his left hand. Okay Fox, shoot. Naruto said with Kyuubi looking him in the eye. I wish to also give you some gifts as well to help you out. Kyuubi said with Naruto raising an eyebrow, with his three ancestors looking the fox's way to see what the fox demon was up to. And, if pray tell, would these so-called gifts be? Virgil asked in his calm, cool tone that made Naruto look at this guy as if he was that robot guy from the Terminator movies that was just so cool. Look, I can tell that you don't trust me and I can understand that, but let me ask you this, what harm could I possibly do to the boy if his seal forbids me from harming him? He asked, with the three half-devils simply shrugging their shoulders, knowing what the demon said was true anyway. Just to let you know, I'm not going to try to kill you, because that would never happen, as this seal would absorb my soul and kill me far too fast before I can even give you a scratch. Now what I wish to give you are several gifts, with the first being the ability to use me as a devil arm, since technically your Yondaime defeated me but you hold my soul so it still counts. You'll get a lot of uses from my soul as well as my ways of being a trickster due to your own devil power. Kyuubi said with Naruto looking confused at that. Devil power? I have my own devil power? He said confused, with Dante smirking at the fox. Good call Fox, as I was hoping he would get that from you. He said before standing in front of Naruto. Well kid, we wanted that to be a surprise when you got your first devil arm, but since the fox is allowing you to use him, then we will tell you now. We each have our own devil power, with Virgil and me having the ability to use devil arms and Nero using the devil bringer, but your power is called devil essence, and that is a very good power. He said with Virgil speaking after him. What devil essence does is that it allows you to absorb the abilities of any demon you kill, such as their personality, physical preference, their natural power and much more. With that, along with the power to use devil arms, you'll gain much more use from the weapon. By the way, Virgil then looked Kyuubi's way. What is your natural power? Pure manipulation of the elements, but he will only gain control of his two strongest elements, which is fire and wind, but in time he would have full control over all the elements. Kyuubi said with Naruto looking giddy at the idea. Deal. But what else will I receive from you? Naruto asked with Kyuubi chuckling. You'll gain a lot of my abilities. First, you will gain my powers of regeneration, which combined with the devil power would make you virtually unbeatable in battle. You shall also gain some of my fox-like powers, such as our ability to use illusions, or what you humans refer to as genjutsu, and other things that I know you will like. You will also get the ability to summon my spirit and use me to assist in battle when you need it. In all actuality, you can use me like Nero did with his devil spirit. he said with Naruto thinking on it before he looked at the demon with eyes of determination. I'll take the deal. I guess I can get used to the idea of being a half-demon with the power I'll soon hold, Naruto said with the other 3 half-devils nodding before they placed their hands on the boy and then closed their eyes. Naruto, just to let you know this will hurt but the pain will wear off when you wake up, Dante said with Naruto nodding and closing his eyes as well. Kyuubi then took the time to let his chakra out and wrap itself around the boy. Then Dante, Nero, and Virgil's eyes snapped open but they showed nothing but white. They then started to yell with the red chakra now blasting upwards and made Naruto black out from the pain. He did not wake up after that. 2 days later, Naruto awoke from his slumber with his body feeling very sore. He did not even know neither how long he slept nor what time it was, but there was one good thing that came out of it. He felt something that he never felt before, completion. He felt that now with the knowledge of who he truly is and what he was truly capable of. He liked it. He got out of bed and was surprised to see how his feet touched the ground in an instant, but he was still too tired to notice. He got up, walked over to his bathroom, and did his morning routine before he saw his reflection in the mirror. Gone was his natural untamed spiky blonde hair and in its place was a dark silvery white that was puffed out and trim and reached the nape of his neck. He also saw that his face was now completely void of any baby fat he held and his face was now well chiseled. He also saw that whisker-like birthmarks were now so thin that you could barely see them unless you looked really close. He also saw a change in his eyes as he saw the pupil turned into a silt and the iris had a small red ring around it. He then looked more closely at his eyes and saw that they were still blue but were icy in color. However, he saw that his swords were not on his back, which confused him until he looked at his arms. On his left arm was a tattoo that completely covered his entire left arm. It was the image of Yamato on his left bicep with the image pale blue spiritual swords on his forearm. However, if one were to look closely at his wrist you would see the words tradition tattooed on it. On his right arm, it seemingly represented rebellion that looked great. On his right bicep, it looked like a huge skull that completely covered it. On his right forearm were 8 rows of what looked a person's ribcage. What completed the image was a broadsword in between the ribcage that pointed to another tattoo on his wrist that spelled resistance in bold letters. The former blonde was now beyond shocked but something told him in his mind that this was a natural feeling as a member of the Sparda clan. Well, what the hell do I do now? I need to get stronger if I want to prove that I'm powerful, Naruto thought before he jumped when he heard a response. Well, you need to get some new cloths. Those bright kill me orange jumpsuits aren't going to cut it anymore, Kyuubi said. Naruto however regained his composure remembering the night 2 days ago when he got his family heirlooms. Okay, I think you're right on the cloths but I think I need a whole new change in both appearance and scenario. So I think I know the first location we go to, Naruto thought before he went to his closet and pulled out a pair of white shorts and a black t-shirt. The shorts were something he stole from a clothing store back when he was younger but he learned that they were too big for him to wear. They still were but he simply wore his headband like a belt in order to keep his pants from falling. When he also put on the black t-shirt, he was surprised at how tight it was as if he was wearing second skin. He then left the house and walked through the streets that maimed and dubbed him the village pariah. As he walked through the street, he could not help but see all the attention on him but for the first time they were not glares but looks of curiosity. He let a small smile creep across his face as everyone finally notices him. It was something he dreamed of for so long but for some reason it did not matter to him since he no longer gave a fuck about the villagers. This time he was in it for himself and himself alone. He walked straight to the cage tower without even bothering listening to the guards that told him to stop. Instead, he gave a simply middle finger before walking up to the Hokage's door, which currently hid a certain old man from view. Said old man was busy doing paperwork before he looked up to see a white-haired kid at the door of his office. "Hello young man, may I help you with something?" he asked with the boy smirking. "You can, old man. I want to know who my parents are," Naruto said with Sarutobi's eyes widening. "Naruto? Is that you? What happened to you?" he asked, knowing that only Naruto would call him old. Naruto smirked as he closed the doors behind him and walked up to his desk. "Well, old man, it happened like this." He then explained what happened 2 days ago. He explained about the meeting of his ancestors, him learning about his demon and the gifts he would receive, and the weapons he received as well as his bloodline. Sarutobi sat down shocked before he started to laugh to himself and look at the picture of the Yondaime and could not but look at the picture with a humorous grin. "Minato, you never cease to amaze me. Not even in the grave," he thought before he faced Naruto. "Well, Naruto-kun, normally I wasn't supposed to do this until you were 14 or gained the rank of Chunin, but I think that would do more harm than good," he said, standing up and walking over to the pictures of the previous Hokages but more specifically the fourth. He then removed the picture to reveal a safe. He then added in the combination and like that the safe opened to reveal some scrolls. He took out 3 scrolls, each a different color, and handed them to Naruto. "Those are from your father, Naruto. I would tell you who he was but I think you should find out for yourself. Go ahead, read them." he said with Naruto nodding and opening the scroll and began reading the contents within it. To my son Naruto. If you are reading this, then I have long since fallen at the day of the Kyuubi no Kitsune attack, and hopefully you are one of these three things. You are of Genin rank, Sarutobi is still alive, and you just gained knowledge of the Kyuubi no Kitsune within you. The second is that you are a Chonin, Sarutobi is hopefully still alive, but if not, you met your godfather and the Kyuubi no Kitsune is dead. Or the last one, you are 18, Sarutobi has long since passed on to the afterlife and you are Hokage, hopefully, but my instincts were never wrong, so I think you're the earlier of the three. Believe me Naruto, I would have never considered giving you a hellish life if there was any alternative, but there wasn't, and I had no choice but to seal the Kyuubi no Kitsune in you. If you have not guessed it by now, then I guess I should tell you. My name is Namikaze Minato, but you may know me as the Yondaime of Konoha. Now I am sure you hold some hatred for me for what I've done, but try to understand something. I did what I did because I knew that you would be the best one for the job. I knew that with our bloodline you could use the Kyuubi no Kitsune's power to become the greatest ninja and accomplish my dream of being surpassed by a worthy successor. I knew our bloodline would help you in turning Kyuubi into a devil arm and use the power he used to try to destroy the village. Now let me explain our bloodline. We are of the Namikaze clan, or as our nickname states, the descendants of the Dark Knight. We each hold about 3 powers within our bloodline called Devil Arms, Devil Bringer, and my power Devil Essence. The most common part of our bloodline is the ability to use Devil Arms, which are weapons with demonic powers implanted into them. The Devil Bringer is the second part of our bloodline, as all we have to do is touch our first Devil Arm, which will send a surge of demonic energy into our arm and turns it into a demonic arm that allows us to pull enemies towards us or us towards them. Either way, the power kicks ass. The arm also multiplies our strength and can even manipulate time to a certain degree. Then last but not least, my personal favorite, Devil Essence, which is a rare power seen within our clan. What Devil Essence does is allows us to absorb the power of the demon we kill. Like say for example you kill a demon that holds the power over darkness, then Devil Essence will give the ability to use the darkness. And as A+ you get some of that demon's properties and could even reflect your appearance around them. There are endless possibilities with that power. Now on to other things such as the gifts. Sealed inside this scroll is a picture of your mother and me when we learned that she was pregnant with you. Also sealed in this scroll are my 2 personal weapons called Angel and Reaper. Along with that are the blueprints I have for another weapon, but I think you should name it once you finished it. The last thing seal is a scroll containing my two personal jutsus, the Rasengan and the Haraishin, though you may need training for that last technique. Live long my son. May you become a legend beyond my level, and maybe I will see you again someday. Signed Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime. Naruto soon found a huge smirk on his face, as he looked towards Sarutobi. Well old man, I think it's about time I make a change in scenery, he said with Sarutobi finding a smirk on his face as well. I agree. It's time for a change as well. 1 month later, yeah that is right, it's a time skip, big whoop, wanna fight about it? Naruto was in the forest of death, standing tall in nothing but a pair of baggy black pants and black steel-toed boots with a pair of black arm bracers on his arms with the design of 9 swirling foxtails on it with a red trench coat hung on a tree branch. He was currently standing in front of 100 clones, each holding a copy of Rebellion and Yamato. He himself was holding the devil arm of the Kyuubi no Kitsune before the army of clones. Kyuubi's devil arm looked like a long black Nodaichi sword with the guard looking like a fox's head and the handle looking like large fox claws with a long black crack going down the middle. He was currently sparring against his clone to see how far he has progressed. The first thing he learned over the past month he was the styles of his ancestors, with the first being a style that would help him master all of his devil arms called the Swordmaster style. Kyuubi's devil arm worked with speed and fast strikes like the way a fox would fight in battle. When he first practiced with this sword, it gave him a sense of strength and determination when fighting. He also saw that when he summoned the devil arm, his eyes would reflect the devil's essence. Therefore, when he used Kyuubi, his eyes would turn blood red with the silts growing larger. Once he got a good hand on the sword master style, he moved on to the next style called Gunslinger. The Gunslinger was a style that was hard to master, as you needed to use a rare weapon called a gun. He was told that guns were some of the most powerful weapons in existence, as they were able to fire projectiles at an unbelievable speed and could take out anything depending on the amount of power it held. He was also told that once he got his devil powers fully developed, he could transfer his power into the guns themselves and increase their lethalness. He was currently using his new weapons given to him by his father. They were 2 handguns called Angel and Reaper. Angel and Reaper were both M1911 handguns that were each completely different in appearance. Reaper was a jet black painted handgun with the image of a red female devil with a huge red bat-like wing on the side with the words Reaper etched in black. On the second gun, Angel was painted pearl white with the image of a blue female angel with a blue huge falcon wing that had the words Angel etched in white. Naruto enjoyed learning how to use these babies, but the material he needed for them to work no longer existed. as every gun that was made was destroyed during the First Great Shinobi War. He learned that the guns needed something called bullets and gunpowder, but nobody knew how to make that substance. The bullets weren't around either, so he had to personally ask the shop where he got his clothing, which inconveniently happened to sell weapons, and ask the man to make him the bullets while simultaneously asking the man to adjust his guns to use chakra instead of gunpowder. Okay Naruto, I want you to try it again. Let your instinct guide you in the way you aim the bullet. Kyuubi said through their mental link with Naruto nodding. He closed his eyes and listened to his heartbeat. He then felt his adrenaline build up as well as his heartbeat going faster. Then before anyone could say a word, the white-haired boy took a grasp on Reaper and swung his arm in a wide arc before firing the weapon, letting the thunderclap be heard throughout the forest. The bullet left the gun, heading straight for the tree in front of Naruto before something strange happened. The bullet curved itself to the left and around the tree and hit the one behind the one he fired towards. Naruto stood amazed at that, as that was something he has never seen before. You like that, kid? It is a skill that I picked up during my time with Sparda, but it's still more fun to slash at your enemies than shoot them. What you do is allow your adrenaline to speed up your heartbeat so that your eyes can see things more clearly. With a few more days of straight training, with a couple hundred clones, you should be able to do this without even trying. Kyuubi said with Naruto nodding. He got used to the idea of him learning from the strongest of the 9, since after all they had to depend on the other to survive. After his true bloodline was activated by his ancestors, his power was by far stronger than ever after he destroyed his accursed orange jumpsuit and moved out of his dinky-dink apartment. He was very happy in his little crib in the upper district of the village, and the best part was that it was all his. However, his thoughts were soon interrupted when he looked at his watch and saw that it was time to make his return to the academy. He truly wanted this day to come very quickly, as he wanted to see the look on the other Genin's faces at his new look. Therefore, with that thought in mind, he dispelled all of his clones and received the information that they have gathered during their life. After that he simply put on his jacket, but left it open as well as rolling up the sleeves to show off his tattoos. He knew the ladies like that. As he walked through the streets of Konoha, he got looks of surprise, curiosity, and lust from the woman. They were all drooling at the sight of his chest, but he figured it was probably because of his new tattoo on his right pec. It appeared the every devil arm Naruto gained, a new tattoo would appear somewhere on his body. The newest tattoo looked like a fox with burning red eyes and 9 tails growling. This one symbolized the Kyuubi to the fullest, and he had to say that he liked it the most. He continued walking through the streets until he pulled out Angel and held it behind his back. I know you're there, Konohamaru-kun. So get your ass out here, Naruto said, hearing a kid groan. He then turned to see the appearance of a little kid that looked like he was 8 years old, wearing a yellow t-shirt and light blue pants with an orange scarf tied around his neck. Naruto also saw that the boy had a pair of goggles strapped to his forehead. The same pair of goggles he once wore before he became a genin. You're no fun, boss. You're supposed to be my rival, yet every chance I get to beat you, you're one step ahead, he said with Naruto rubbing his head, before he picked the boy up and carried him on his shoulders. Sorry little man, but I can't afford to let you get one over me at your age. Besides, I can't play today, I have to go to class, he said with the boy groaning again. But you promised you would. I told Moegi and Udon that you would play ninja with us, yet you still haven't come to play with us, he said with Naruto laughing to himself. Well, remember, I did promise you that I will try to become a jounin by the time you graduate, that way I could be your sensei along Moegi and Udon, he said with the boy smiling brightly. You promise, Nii-san? He said with Naruto smiling as well. Yep, was all he said. Later at the academy building, Iruka looked around the room and saw that everyone that passed the exam was here. He was pretty happy at the moment, seeing as how he got the 2 banshees, Haruno Sakura and Yamanaka Ino, to shut their asses up. Every day, for the last year, those two had been fighting over the Uchiha clan heir, Uchiha Sasuke, due to a rumor about Ino liking Sasuke and Sakura later on liking the boy. The tension between the 2 girls built up so high, that it soon became the sword that would pierce their friendship, thus causing them to act like this. He was almost sure that the only reason Ino fights with Sakura constantly, is that the girl really broke her heart that day and she never got over it. Once he saw that everyone was silent, he was about to speak until the doors opened and in walked a white-haired boy. Everyone saw that the boy was well over 5 feet tall with short white hair that looked more like a mop and deep blue eyes. The girls were actually staring at his open jacket to show off his shirtless chest and his chain around his neck that looked to have a ruby on it. Everyone was wondering who the boy was, but Iruka knew who it was hands down, due to the whisker-like marks on his face. Marks that only belonged to one person and one person alone. Hello Naruto, it's good to see you're back, now take a seat, he said with everyone thinking that's Naruto? With their heads in the direction of the former blonde. Naruto simply had a smirk on his face as he waved at Iruka. Sorry Scarface, I've been busy but we'll talk later, Naruto said, which made everyone look at Iruka, just to see what he would do about being called Scarface. To their shock, He just waved the boy off as if it was no big deal. Meanwhile, Naruto took a seat next to Hinata, who was blushing deeply but also heard the sounds of other girls talking about the boy, and some were discussing ways to get him alone with them. She could not help but get angry at the girls for just now seeing Naruto for the handsome boy he is. She saw him first, so if anyone would get the boy alone with them, it was going to be her and her alone. Congratulations to all of you. You all have managed to make it this far, but the road ahead of you will only get harder. You are now Genin, the lowest of the low, and as such adults. I am proud of you all for making it this far and wish you luck on the journey ahead of you. If you remember nothing else, remember this: you now represent our village, the oldest and strongest of all the shinobi villages. Take pride in that. As Iruka finished his speech, several cheers sounded throughout the room. After they died down, however, Iruka was quick to speak up once more. Now then, as tradition goes, you have been divided into teams of 3 along with a jounin instructor. Team 1. From here, Naruto tuned the man out, listening only for the announcement of his own team. Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Your jounin instructor is Hatake Kakashi. Damn, I'm stuck with a gay emo and his faithful bitch. This is bullshit. Naruto thought, seeing Sakura celebrate getting on the same time as her crush, while Ino looked pissed. Team 8. Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Inuzuka Kiba. Your jounin instructor is Yuhi Kurenai. I wanted to be with Naruto-kun, not some arrogant neutered dog. Hinata thought, seeing Kiba howl at getting with Hinata while Shino slapped his head in annoyance. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year, so there won't be a new one. Team 10, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, and Akimichi Choji. Your jounin instructor is Sarutobi Asuma. Iruka said, seeing Ino slam her head on the desk at the fate she was given. Now then, we will have a 1-hour recess. After this you will return here as your jounin instructors come pick you up. Dismissed. With that, there was chaos as the group of preteens began chatting excitedly and left the room. 4 hours later found the members of Team 7 as the only people within the room. Everyone else had been picked up within the first 10 minutes. Sakura had spent the first hour pestering Sasuke while said Uchiha ignored her very existence. Since then it had been quiet as the girl had begun glancing between Sasuke and the white-haired boy that was Naruto. Sasuke, however, had spent the entire time brooding and ignoring Sakura's existence while trying to discover what the secret was behind Naruto's new appearance and what secrets he had hidden. Naruto, however, had spent the time going over the things he'd been doing the last month. Flashback. Naruto was now walking through an area called Training Area 44, or as some would call it, the Forest of Death. The place is a giant area that was filled with dangerous animals, poisonous plants and bugs. Also among those were several other things that would make a person with an iron stomach queasy. However, Naruto wasn't known as the boy with little fear, as there wasn't a damn thing he was afraid of. All his life, going through things that most people would not even dream of experiencing, at any age mind you. But for him, he got that out of the way, and thanks to that he drew more knowledge from it than what normal people would expect. About 2 weeks ago, he located this area after asking the Hokage where the best place to train would be. The Hokage gave him the list of areas he could go to, and as a result, he found the Forest of Death to be the best spot, and personally speaking it was. The place was quiet, peaceful, and you could kill something every day. See perfect. The one thing Naruto enjoyed the most being here was one thing: snakes. Naruto liked the taste of them, and hunting them was just as fun. It turned out that snakes are quite possibly the best way to survive in the wild because they were loaded with protein and vitamins that you would need to survive. But to get the snake you would first have to cut the head off, since if said snake you kill turned out to be poisonous, then you would have to bury its head since the poison is trapped in its fangs, so you're still at risk of getting poisoned by it. Then just shed the skin and eat up, and as a plus you get a nice belt too. Nevertheless, for right now Naruto was just searching for a good area to get some good amount of training in before looking for a nice tree to camp in for the night, and then start all over again. He kept walking until he felt a pair of arms wrap themselves around his neck and a pair of breasts were pressed into his back, which made him blush deeply. He knew just exactly who this person was, and said person moved its head to his ear. You know, Naruto-kun, you're not supposed to come into the Forest of Death without looking for me. That was the agreement we had, Anko said with a seductive voice that made Naruto blush even deeper. But Anko-chan, I tried looking for you but I couldn't find you. Besides, I was just to try out a new technique, he said, with Anko letting him go so he can turn to face her smirking face. Naruto and Anko had been on good terms for quite a while now, since she was Naruto's partner in his most exclusive pranks, such as one when both him and her broke into Uchiha Sasuke's house and spread glue all over his bathroom floor and on his furniture. They did about 30 of the countless number of pranks the boy pulled, but her personal favorite was when she helped Naruto dye the pink and blonde banshee's hair black with white words on the back of their heads saying "I like to get licked." It was a moment that Naruto would always treasure when the girls came to school the next day, completely unaware of what their hair looked like, and had to hear the boys and the girls laughing at them. Okay, I'll let it slide this one time since we still need to get some training done. Plus you promised that you were going to teach me some kenjutsu since you seem to be pretty good at it. Anko said with Naruto nodding. This was what they had in terms of a relationship, just strictly training and nothing more. Well, maybe not that much since they would hang out every occasionally, as if Naruto would treat her to dengo and she would treat him to ramen. They would run each other ragged after that. But today they were just going to train like they always do. Later on, Naruto stood before Anko, holding his patented Yamato sword in his left hand with the blade still in it. Anko could be seen panting loudly while holding a katana of her own, that Naruto bought her, mind you. Naruto was teaching her the sword style Nero fought with when he was alive, but said style held no name, though Anko promised that she would give it one once she mastered it. Anko soon regained her breath and grasped her sword tightly before running at Naruto while holding the sword in both of her hands. Naruto blocked all her strikes with the scarab of his katana and simply knocked her attempts to hit him away. Anko planted her foot on the ground before she spun and dragged her right foot on the ground and held the sword with her two hands and called out exceed. That was one of the moves that Naruto taught Anko. The way it worked was charging forward, with your right foot dragging on the ground and you held the sword in both hands in order to create a devastating attack. It would be more powerful if Anko could use it with fire, but sadly, the chemicals needed to cover the sword with flames has been lost for many centuries. Naruto was still trying to come up with a formula to help her make the attack better, but for right now this would have to do. So with that, he grasped the hilt of his sword and pulled it up to block the sword strike. Okay Anko-chan, that good for today. You're getting much better every day, he said, complimenting her on a job well done, as he called back his sword. The sword then broke into particles of purple and went into his arm, forming the tattoo. Anko panted as she put her sword away. How are you able to do it? You should as tired as me, Anko asked, panting, with Naruto shrugging his shoulders. I got great stamina, besides you will get the hang of it once you train harder, he said, with Anko nodding before she walked up to him and hugged him from behind his back, making the boy feel her breast on his back. For some reason he just loved it. You know, we'll have to test that theory of your high amount of stamina, Naruto-kun, she said, though Naruto laughed to himself. Not yet Anko-chan, though don't think that I want to deny you. You know you're a sexy psycho, he said with her groaning. But I want to be your sexy psycho, and the only way I can do that is to test you, she said, sounding a little desperate, but Naruto just simply waved it off. Don't worry, when the time is right, I will give you the desire you want. Who knows, you might take my virginity, he said, not seeing the blush on her face. Now come on, I'll treat you to some dengo, he said, with the purple-haired woman grabbing his hand and pulling him out of the forest just to get her favorite food. End flashback. You better hit that. That woman is practically throwing her pussy at you, Kyubi said. His demonic lust was practically calling for his vessel to bang that woman from sun up to sundown. I know, Kyubi, but right now I got more on my mind than getting laid. I will have plenty of time to do that later on, but for now I just want to get this thing over with and start hunting demons, he thought, feeling his ancestors' blood spark with that thought. He heard many tales from Kyubi on how he learned of Dante capturing well over 20 devils and slaying thousands in his days. He would describe each one with the story of how he gained them and what it took to kill them. He was shaken from his thoughts as he noticed as the sounds of footsteps reached his ears. Sitting up, he looked over just in time to see the door slide open. As the door slid open, it revealed the form of a man wearing the uniform of a Konoha Jounin. Other than that, he wore a mask over the lower half of his face and had his headband slanted to cover one of his eyes. Finally, he had silver hair that stuck up at an odd angle. My first impression of you guys is, you're boring, said the man, causing the genin to face plant. Anyway, meet me on the roof in 5 minutes. With that said, he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Without a word to his teammates, Naruto was up and moving out the door, with both Sasuke and Sakura moving to catch up. By the time they arrived on the roof, Kakashi could be seen leaning on the railing with a small orange book in hand. Motioning for them to sit before him, the man snapped the book shut before pocketing it. Okay, how about introductions? Names, likes, dislikes, dreams for the future, all that good stuff, the man said lazily. Well, can you go first so we know how it's done? Asked Sakura, and she's supposed to be the smart one. All three males let out 3 simultaneous sighs after that. Okay then. My name is Hatake Kakashi. I have a few likes, the things I dislike, well, I have a few hobbies, finished the man, inwardly laughing at the reaction he received from the 3. Alright, your turn, Pinky, said Kakashi, before pointing to Sakura. My name is Haruno Sakura. I like, looks at Sasuke and blushes. My hobbies are, looks at Sasuke again. And my dream for the future, blushes, looks at Sasuke and squeals. Damn fangirl. Thought the males, all the males with heavy sighs. And your dislikes? Asked Kakashi, though he didn't really care. Ino pig. Screamed the girl, causing everyone else to wince. Your next duck butt, said Kakashi upon regaining his hearing and pointing at Sasuke. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I have no likes and many dislikes. I don't have a dream but an ambition, which is to revive my clan and to kill a certain man, said the king of Brute. Just like I thought, an Avenger. Thought Kakashi. Alright Whiskers, you're up. My name's Sparda Naruto. The others look at him confused. I have a few likes, such as training and pranks, along with a lot of dislikes, including the idiot villagers and a certain clan that I will keep nameless. I only want two things in life: the first to make my ancestors proud, and the second to not kill but utterly destroy a certain Uchiha who not only ruined my life but is responsible for the death of my father. Finished the boy, making the group go wide-eyed before Sasuke turned on him with a heated glare. You're not going to kill him, that right belongs to me, he said, only for Naruto to look him in the eye and make the boy recoil. Naruto's eyes looked cold beyond anything he has ever felt and was now wondering just what changed the boy this much. This Uchiha is by far stronger than that of your brother. As for your brother, I have no beef with him, so he will be the only Uchiha I will spare my wrath, he said before he began to leak killing intent on Sasuke, that made the boy pale and sweat hard just from Naruto's glare alone. However, I will only say this once. If you want to live, you had better make damn sure that you don't piss me off, because if you do, you'll meet mommy and daddy faster than they were killed. And that I promise you, little boy, Naruto said with his eyes blazing red. Sasuke then did something that he thought he would never do. He pissed his pants and was sure that he didn't even notice. Naruto and Kakashi did, and both shinobi were on the ground bawling their eyes out. That was too scary. Sakura looked livid at what Naruto did, and would have said something had the boy not turned his glare on her and made her shut up. Something defiantly did happen to the boy. But what caused that change was the question. Okay, said Kakashi, aiming to put things back on track. He was far too shocked by what he just saw and would tell the Hokage later on, but for now he would keep it to himself. You guys can meet me tomorrow morning at 0600 at Training Ground 7 for you get an exam, said Kakashi, only for the three to blink before turning to him. Kakashi-sensei, we already took the Genin exam, said Sakura. The reaction to this was Kakashi laughing. Seeing this, Sasuke narrowed his eyes while Naruto merely sighed. Finally, Kakashi regained enough of himself to speak. Sorry to tell you this, but that wasn't the real Genin exam. That was merely a test used to separate those with the potential to become a Genin from those who aren't ready. The true exam, however, is given by the various Jounin senseis, and has a 66.6% chance of failure, explained the man, causing Sakura to pale. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, said Kakashi before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Seeing the man gone, Naruto stood to his feet and left without a word to prepare for the next day. As he prepared himself for the events that would take place tomorrow, he could not help but wonder what it had in store for him. As the saying goes, if tomorrow comes, the future will be open to you. It was early in the morning and Naruto was still in bed. He then heard his alarm go off, but the second it started, Naruto destroyed it with Angel. Naruto sighed before he got up and walked over to take a shower in his new apartment that he bought a month ago. Sarutobi told him that they would have to hold back his inheritance until he was the proper age of 18, but he would have access to his clan accounts. He also told Naruto that his clan home needed to be refurbished and cleaned, since the house cleaners he hired stopped going there years ago. Therefore, in the meantime, this was home for Naruto. It was a nice 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment with a living room and an open kitchen. The living room only held 2 couches and a reclining chair along with a large television. His kitchen contained an electric stove and oven, as well as one of those ice dispensing refrigerators. On the side of the sink was a water dispenser, but this one was a newer type. Instead of using a bottle, like most would think, this one was hooked into the pipes, and purified the water that went through it. The best part, all of it worked perfectly. Of the 2 rooms, one of them acted as a bedroom and the other was a study. The study contained a desk and a very relaxing chair. Bookshelves lined the walls filled with books provided by the sandaime. His bedroom, however, held a nice king-sized bed and some new wardrobes in his closets. All of it provided by the sandaime, due to him wanting to repay Naruto for the mistake of not telling him of his heritage. Naruto liked his new apartment and was glad that nobody knew he lived there, since he wanted to keep this place nice and clean. He walked out of his shower with a towel wrapped around his waist and looked at the full-body mirror he had next to the door of said bathroom. Naruto looked himself over and couldn't help but smile at his new appearance. If it was not for the whisker-like marks on his cheeks, he was sure that he would not be recognizable one bit, which wasn't bad either. He saw that his body changed greatly, with Kyuubi burning all of the leftover baby fat and turning it to straight muscle. But what Naruto liked the most were his tattoos. He was sure that they made him look unique and exotic in the eyes of women around the village, and they gave him a more badass kinda look. He was sure that if he never met his ancestors, or the fox for that matter, he would still look like that pathetic child wearing that kill me orange jumpsuit and would be acting like a total idiot. But today he didn't feel like dressing up, so he just put on some black pants, ninja sandals, and a black mesh shirt with his headband tied around his waist like a belt. He looked over to his drawer and saw the case for his guns, so he wrapped that around himself and secured it and just put a black trench coat, with the sleeves ripped out, over it. He wanted to take it a little easy today. Before he left his house, he looked at his kitchen and heard his stomach growl loudly. He looked towards the refrigerator and once again heard his stomach growl. You know what? Fuck it. If I throw up then that's all there is to it, but I'm hungry right now, Naruto said before running back to the kitchen and pulling the door open. It then revealed some leftover pizza boxes, bottles of sake, and an energy drink called Gatorade that originated in Mizu no Kuni. Naruto grabbed one of the boxes and began to eat the cold pizza. Once that box was done, he pulled the next one out and devoured that one. It would take a while for him to be done. Later on, during Naruto's walk, he noticed the hungry looks on the face of the female portion of the village, and was sure that had it not been for public laws on sexually explicit conduct, said women would ravish him. Anko told him that women always crave good-looking guys but they would never truly be with one. The female mind is very complex and confusing, unlike guys, who just far too simple to get. The white-haired boy feared that the day would come when he would let his guard down and boom, he would be in a large sex orgy, with him being the only male among them. He continued walking until he saw that he was in his team training grounds and that said teammates were already there. He looked around and saw that his teacher wasn't there, which told him he was going to be late again. I think sensei does this all the time, as he was late yesterday. Well, I guess I don't have to wake up this early anymore, but I don't feel like talking to these two, so I think I'll just chill for a bit. He thought before changing his direction to the forest next to him and laid down in a tree and allowed his eyes to rest. He needed the extra sleep for today. It was several hours before the arrival of Hatake Kakashi. He walked casually towards the two and raised his hands saying yo to both of the two genin, who got pissed immediately. Well, Sakura did. Sasuke was more on glaring at the masked man. Both you and Naruto are late, she yelled with Kakashi looking confused before he laughed at her words. Please Sakura, I'm not some low-rank academy student, he said looking behind his back at the trees. Naruto, why don't you grace us all with your presence, he said. The two genins all turned their head to the location Kakashi was looking at but found no trace of their white-haired teammate. Sakura then looked at Kakashi in confusion. Kakashi-sensei, I don't think Naruto is here. Sasuke-kun and I have been here since 7 and neither one of us has seen him, she said, wondering how her sensei could make such a mistake in perception with him being a jounin and all. I've been here since 8 Pinky. You might have noticed if you weren't so concerned about Uchiha, Naruto said with both of his teammates looking at his direction and saw leaning against a tree. Yo was all he said with a wave of his hands. Sasuke just looked shocked beyond words at seeing his teammate stand there as if he was a ghost. I didn't even see him appear? What type of power are you hiding, Naruto? He thought. Sakura, however, was quick to get over her shock, as said shock turned to anger as she spoke. Naruto, why are you late? She yelled, only to see Naruto picking his ears before he responded in a cool, calm tone. You'll wake the dead with your voice, Pinky, Sakura growls. Anyway, I didn't wake up early enough to come here, so I slept in and woke up at 9, he said with Sakura growling, but Kakashi intervened. Anyway, now that we're here, let's start this test. Kakashi walked over to a tree stump and put down a timer. He held out 2 silver bells before tying it to his waist. It is 10:30 right now. You guys have until 12 o'clock to get the bells from me. Come at me with the intention of killing me. Are you sure about that, sensei? Sakura had a little concern in her voice. She did not want to see her sensei badly beaten by her Sasuke-kun. Kakashi wonders if she was showing concern for him or concern that Sasuke was going to beat him badly. Don't worry about me, Sakura, just worry about yourselves. After all, you guys won't land a single scratch on me. I'm not a jounin for nothing, you know. Naruto let out a little laugh. Kakashi glanced at Naruto before flicking the bells. Sakura looked at the bells and saw only 2. Kakashi-sensei, why are there only 2 bells when there are 3 of us? I'm glad you asked, Sakura. You see, in this exam only 2 of you will pass and the ones that don't will go right back to the academy, he said with a nice smile. Sasuke and Sakura immediately held looks of determination on their face that said that they would get the bells, while Naruto simply yawned into his hand, thus catching the attention of everyone. Can we hurry this along? I don't want to waste another second here, Naruto said with Sasuke and Sakura giving him looks of confusion. Okay then, everyone ready, set, begin, he said with everyone vanishing. Kakashi surveyed the area and was impressed with the way the genin hid themselves. Not bad for some beginners, as they are doing quite a good job of hiding. Wait, I only sense 2, where's the other one? Kakashi asked in his head only to feel a presence behind him. You know, sensei, it's not a good idea to let your guard down, not even for genin, said Naruto. He then raised his arm, which held a kunai, and sent it towards Kakashi's spine. Kakashi took the shot and was shocked that Naruto appeared behind him without any form of hint or sound to indicate his presence. It's as if he knows the silent kill technique from Kiri. I thought that this kid was the class doby. What's going on here? Kakashi asked himself before he turned into a log and reappeared on the other side of the clearing. What the hell is that idiot doing? Sasuke thought, though he was curious about how Naruto was able to appear behind the man without even hinting his presence. Sakura, however, was more concerned with finding Sasuke than watching her idiot teammate get his ass kicked right now. Of course, she would watch that, but only with Sasuke. Kakashi was about to reach into his pouch to pull out something, but Naruto spoke, getting his attention. "Kakashi, I'm afraid I can't allow you to take out that book," he said, closing his eyes and stood still for a moment. Kakashi, however, was surprised that Naruto knew of his book, but didn't heed his warning as he pulled said book out. "Oh, and why's that?" he asked, only to see it burst into flames. He looked up to see Naruto's left index and middle fingers were extended with smoke coming off them. Naruto then brought up his right arm to his back, and in a swirl of flames appeared the Kyuubi sword in his hand, making Kakashi's eyes widened. He then saw Naruto's eyes open to reveal full blood red silted eyes as he removed the sword and stabbed the blade into the ground before flames surrounded the sword that told Kakashi that he would be at death's door for dinner tonight. If he didn't take this seriously, that is. "Because, I'm going to make sure that your attention is focused on nothing but me. Now let's go," Naruto said, charging forward and extended the Nadachi class sword in a wide slash. Kakashi jumped over the slash and landed behind the white-haired boy, only to see said boy strike the ground he once stood on and made his eyes widen once more. When the blade touched the ground, it burst right into flames, but these flames weren't your regular orange but that of pure pitch black. But Naruto took advantage of this and vanished from sight and reappeared behind Kakashi, getting ready to stab him through his chest. Kakashi quickly rolled to the side, dodging the stab, and chucked a kunai at Naruto's head, only to see said boy cut through it. Naruto then raised his sword high and sent it towards a down Kakashi, who took out more kunais and blocked the sword by crossing his arms and held it. Naruto pushed till the tip of his sword was touching the ground. Naruto then pulled back hard and sliced through the kunais with ease before trying to stab Kakashi through his stomach, only to see said man backflip himself off the ground, making Naruto's sword stab the earth. Kakashi was about to follow his attack, only to see Naruto grasp hard on his sword before twisting the handle, causing it to ignite in flames and break the rock under it. Naruto then called out "Exceed" and charged at Kakashi, but this time the speed and power was far stronger than before. Kakashi brought up his kunais, thinking that they blocked the hit. He was soon rudely awakened when the hit came and tore through the kunais and Kakashi himself, only to reveal that he was an actually shadow clone. Naruto still tore through it, before twisting himself on the heel of his right foot and coming to an abrupt stop, and pushed himself up to his feet, thanks to his sword. He was not the only one marveled by the attack, as Sasuke and Sakura could not believe their eyes. They always thought that Naruto was the weakest member of the team, so he would be taken out first, and then they would get their chance and pass the test. However, seeing the way the white-haired boy was fighting their sensei and was keeping him on his feet told them otherwise. They then saw Kakashi sneak up behind Naruto and chop the back of the neck, seemingly knocking him out. "Well done, Naruto, but as you said, never let your guard down to your opponent," he said, seeing the boy fall forward, only to be shocked when he saw the boy turn into black dust and vanished from into the ground. "What the hell?" he questioned, only to hear claps from behind his back. When he turned, he saw Naruto clapping his hands, with his sword sticking on his back firmly and didn't look like it would fall any time soon, which made him wonder one thing: how the hell did he get his sword to stick on his back like that? Was he using chakra? Did he apply glue to his back? What did he do? His thoughts were broken when Naruto spoke. "You know what, Kakashi, that was very impressive, but I think I've had enough fun for one day, and simply passed the test," Naruto said as he held up the two silver bells. Bells that made Kakashi go wide-eyed and look to his waist and saw said bells were gone. He looked at Naruto for an answer, but was greeted to that he already knew to his question and answered for him. "If you're wondering how I got the bells, well, I simply got them when I appeared behind you. It only took one full second for me to take the bells from you, while you were distracted," Naruto simply said as he jingled the bells and allowed their sound to be heard throughout the area. Sasuke and Sakura just looked on in disbelief at what they just saw, but before they could question it, they felt a pair of hands on their shoulders. They were soon tied to the posts with Naruto leaning on his in the center, a big smirk on his face evident of his accomplishment. "Well, I think I would be correct when I say that Naruto is the only one that has to remain a shinobi. He doesn't need the academy," Kakashi said, with Naruto's smirk getting bigger. "But you two, Sasuke and Sakura, should quit being shinobis altogether," he stated, with both Gennin's eyes widening. "What? Why should we quit?" Sakura yelled, the ropes holding her down, which helped ensure that Kakashi's would live another day. "Because you're both a bunch of wannabes, while Naruto here is the only one that is true shinobi material," he said, with Naruto's smirk getting bigger, while Sasuke and Sakura looked beyond pissed. "What? I'm an Uchiha, yet this 3-time, orphan, academy, dropout loser is better than me?" he yelled, only to be hit on his neck by an angry Naruto. "You can't do that to Sasuke Ku." "Shut up," Naruto said, giving her an icy glare. A glare that made her shut her ass up in an instant. "You two are underestimating what it means to be a ninja. Tell me, why do you think you were divided into teams and are doing this training? Have you even grasped the answer to this test? Kakashi asked, with Sakura and Sasuke trying to think of the answer, but only Naruto knew the answer. Teamwork, Naruto said, as he leaned against his training post, bringing all attention to himself. The purpose of this test was to see if we could exhibit the teamwork necessary to become genin. Sakura scoffed at the words, only for her eyes to widen at Kakashi's answer. Correct. How did you figure it out? Said Kakashi as he released Sasuke, who moved back to his post to brood. There were a few points in your briefing that made no sense. The first was your suggestion of not eating breakfast under the guise of losing it. However, yesterday you arrived 3 hours late, and if your reputation is anything to go by, you are always at least 3 hours late for anything unless it is a meeting with the Hokage. This means that you told us that with the intention of weakening us to the point that we allowed our hunger to affect our thinking. Stated the white-haired boy, causing the eyes of his fellow students to widen while Kakashi's narrowed. Secondly was your statement that regardless one person would fail this test. This contradicts everything we have already been taught in the academy. However, as since the founding of this village, no genin squad has had less than 4 members, the genin and their jounin instructor. Once again, this was done purposely, most likely so that you could see if we had what it took to complete the mission regardless of the circumstances. In this case, that would mean one of us returning to the academy. Finished the boy with a sigh. Are you sure you are Uzumaki Naruto? According to the file I have, Uzumaki Naruto would have never thought this out so thoroughly. Stated Kakashi with narrowed eyes. Of course it says that. After all, I am the kid everybody loves to hate. Aside from that, I've had a full month to fix the problems caused by the teachers at the academy, a chakra reserved to put most jounin to shame, and a weapon with power that is endless on certain terms. Don't think for one second that I would allow myself to remain the same pathetic boy you once knew. Finished Naruto with a smug smirk. The others were confused by what he meant when he said secret weapon, though Kakashi had a feeling that he knew just what he was talking about. Back to the subject at hand, Naruto is the only one who showed teamwork, as he made sure that all the attention was on him and him alone. He thought that you two would be smart enough to attack me while he had my attention. Since he had the bells, all he would have to do is keep you two safe, and he himself would fight for his spot on this team. He said with Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widening. He was about to say more when their binds were broken and Naruto handed them his bells, thus confusing everyone. However, the time has yet to expire and I just did what you said. I released their binds and gave them my bells. Therefore we all pass, though I'm the one that deserves the title of genin. Naruto said as he began walking away. But wait a minute, you cheated, Kakashi said. The confusion was so great that he even forgot that the clock had yet to ring, which it did just now. I'm a shinobi, so deal with it, Naruto said as he continued walking forward. Sasuke, however, looked at the bell in his hands, as the memories of what Naruto just did played itself in his mind. He could not believe that a dobi like Naruto was able to beat a jounin and use some weird sword against him. He looked at Naruto's retreating form and spoke. Dobi, tell me where you got that sword, he said, with Naruto pausing for a moment and looked over his shoulders. No was his only reply as he continued walking forward, but this time Sasuke was hot on his trail. Sasuke wanted answers and he was going to make Naruto talk. Before he even knew what happened, Naruto vanished from sight and reappeared behind him, Yamato drawn in his hand. Foolish, Naruto said before sheathing the Yamato. It was then that Sasuke's chest exploded and blood flew out of the wound like a fountain, and covered the area, or so he thought. There was a small flash before Sasuke stood, the wound gone, and he appeared to be fully healed. He looked up to be greeted by a hard glare from the former blonde, who did not look happy about that little stunt he tried to pull. Know this, Uchiha, there will always be someone stronger, and today you found yours, Naruto said before disappearing in a quick flash. The next day, Naruto now stood in his training ground, working with his newest creation, thanks to Nero's helpful directions. Naruto had just created his third gun called Blood Fang. Its design was made after his father's personal creation, that resembled Nero's Blue Rose, which was a twin-barrel 350 caliber magnum that was painted blood red and customized for quick releases and better power. He was trying to work out all the kinks in this baby, as he did not want this gun to be weak. He had an idea on using the Kyuubi's chakra in conjunction with the gun, to not only add in more power, but gave the bullets the power to explode and set its target on fire. With this added in effect, it would make its power and damage percentage much worse than before. Okay Naruto, aim at the tree and charge your chakra into the gun, Kyuubi said with Naruto nodding and began to do as he was told. He channeled Kyuubi's chakra into the gun, making it glow red, before he pulled hard on the trigger and felt himself being pushed back a bit due to the aftershock. Naruto watched the bullet streak through the air before hitting a tree, and watched the tree erupt in flames. Wow kid, you still need to work on your control of my chakra. But other than that, good job, Kyuubi said with Naruto nodding. He was about to fire another round, until an Anbu appeared behind him. Excuse me, but Hokage-sama would like to see you, Uzumaki Naruto. The Anbu said with Naruto nodding. The Anbu then grabbed the boy's arms and soon they both appeared in the office of Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was currently having his clones work on the useless paperwork while he himself read through the important files. Sure, he hated paperwork, but he could still file the important stuff in case it's ever discussed in a meeting. Ah, Naruto-kun, just the person I wanted to see. There is something I wish to discuss with you, Sarutobi said. His voice not sounding like this was a joking matter. What is it, old man? Naruto asked as he sat down in one of the chairs before the Hokage. Recently, the Princess of the Land of Hearts was on her way to visit Fire Country's capital, and discuss future trading agreements with the Fire Daimyo. However, it was said that on her way through the Land of Grass, she disappeared and hasn't been seen for the last 3 months, and her caretakers are very worried about her safety, Hiruzen said with Naruto raising an eyebrow. What exactly are you trying to say? Naruto said as he saw the old man hand him a scroll. Naruto, you have been assigned your first A-rank mission. I want you to go find the Heart Country Princess, Nodoka. And guys, this is the end. Hope you enjoyed. See